Mass incarceration in the U.S. is the great tsunami that has ripped apart families and destroyed communities. At the epicenter of this destruction are the children of those incarcerated. My name is Ebony Underwood. I am the founder CEO of We Got Us Now. We Got Us Now is the first of its kind, national, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization built by, led by, and about children and young adults who have been impacted by parental incarceration. These are our stories. I want you to please introduce yourself, and then we'll go into more of our conversation.
So I'm Shalei, living in LA, doing my master's in nonprofit leadership and management, my master's of science in criminal justice, working, doing all the fun stuff.
Let's talk about this, because you are a daughter who has experienced parental incarceration.
Yes, I am.
Right?
I am, yes. Both of my parents went to prison, yeah.
Wow.
So when I was 3 weeks old, my parents were picked up by the feds. I got super lucky in that my maternal grandparents took me in, a super stable household, super financially affluent, which was a blessing, but led to confusion throughout my life because I felt like I was living double lives almost. But I never talked about it. Both of them were in federal prison until I was 4. My mom got out, and we didn't really have much of a relationship for probably another good 10 years. She just was in and out and told me later on when I was a teenager that being around me made her feel guilty sometimes, that she just struggled with her past and didn't know how to reconcile it in her relationship with me. My dad fell into a meth and cocaine addiction, so was addicted to drugs.
When did he get out? How old?
He got out when I was 4 as well, so they got out around the same time.
Okay.
But he was in and out of jail throughout my whole life. So he was someone that I don't proudly say, but I wrote off. I didn't quite understand what addiction was, I think. And so for me, it was that he was choosing something else consistently over his relationship with me. I just saw him as someone who had abandoned me and not someone who had past trauma and had struggled with addiction in his life, and that addiction wasn't a choice, and felt super convicted by that. And I met him when I was 14, but he was high when I met him, so it wasn't really a actual interaction. So this time I got to meet him, and he apologized for everything. And I think from there I was able to start really coming to terms with what mass incarceration was, and starting to see how I had gone through these things for a reason, and how I could use that and be open about my story to help others rather than just kind of pushing it off, which I feel is what a lot of people do, but I don't blame them. I didn't even give my dad a chance to do that. I haven't even given him an option. I've just completely written him off because of my pain, where is that? At that point, I need to humble myself. I ran from the topic of incarceration until I finally went on a trip to Angola. I had graduated Pepperdine, was working at this church, and they said, we have a trip to Angola, you should go. And I said, absolutely not. I have spent my fair share of time in jails and prisons, and I am not going to ever voluntarily go into one again, which I'd say that's God's joke in my life. I went to Angola, and my views were completely shifted.
And at that point, were you in counseling at all?
I started counseling. Funny enough, I was in a really serious relationship that ended, and I spiraled, and I'm not typically that girl. I'm pretty emotionally, I think, grounded. Why am I so depressed about this? I've gone through worse things in my life than a breakup. So what is this breakup doing? Why is it doing what it's doing? But I praise God for it because it sent me to counseling. I think I was finally willing to talk about it in counseling openly, and my counselor was really diving into my past and why my past made me the way that I am. So then I was diagnosed with PTSD.
When a person goes through a traumatic event, memories of that aren't just laid down visually, they're laid down in all of our senses. So we form taste memories or smell memories. The body remembers the way that something felt. It remembers the temperature. It remembers vibrations or other sensations. So anything in any of our 5 senses could turn out to be a trigger for accessing those memories.
I also was diagnosed with It's called reactive attachment disorder. It's pretty common in children of incarcerated parents. It's where you reject the person you're attached to, and it comes from kind of being tossed around. So a lot of it's like visitation, for instance. Like you go in, you get to spend like however long, an hour to, if you're lucky, 2 or 3, and then you have to leave. So you're detached from that person that you like are longing to have connection with. I grew up again in a place where having a parent who was incarcerated wasn't super common. I didn't know anybody else that was a child of incarcerated parents.
Right.
And because I was so young when I visited, it wasn't like I made friends, If I've taken anything away from, I guess, my life, it's that mass incarceration and incarceration in general doesn't necessarily have a stop. Parts of it will always continue, and I think it's overcoming and dealing with those things as they come up in your life.
Wow.
But I think it's a part of who you are, and I think it continues to stay a part of who you are, and sometimes it's easier to deal with than other times, and sometimes things will come up and it'll be like, I didn't even know that bothered me. Like that movie, watching other kids of incarcerated parents is shocking.
For you.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're like, however old you are, when, your parents are in prison, it's like, I didn't grow up being like, oh yeah, mass incarceration and knowing all these like public policy terms and all of these laws. And you just know that my parents in prison and no one else's parents are in prison, and simple things like, I remember in first grade them being, our project was like, go home and look in the mirror. Which parent do you look like? And me being like, I don't know. I can't do that.
And you remember that.
Oh yeah.
Those moments, like you really
vividly.
Remember.
Yeah.
How do we get to Miss America?
Yes.
Miss Sierra Nevada.
What a lot of people don't know is Miss America is a nonprofit. So they have social impact initiatives. So like we choose an issue we want to advocate for throughout our year. So we're kind of a community service leader in that area. I did all sorts of stuff, but I definitely never did anything about mass incarceration. Again, was something that I ran from. Didn't talk about it in any of my pageant interviews. Wasn't because I felt like I would be stigmatized, but it was very much like, I just don't want to talk about this. What am I going to do different this time that's going to set me apart? And I had been to Angola, was kind of like walking through things when it came to that, and was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to talk about children of incarcerated parents, and that's going to be my platform.
Wow.
And so I did. And then I won. First one out the gate. We had social impact initiatives, statements.
Okay.
And so it was just like, 2.7 million children in the United States with incarcerated parents. So stand with me in furthering awareness and raising support systems to strengthen those relationships despite separation was mine.
Wow.
And I got on stage and I said it. And I think that was the first time I'd ever been on stage and been like, this is who I am.
Yes.
And it's a part of who I am. And that's okay.
That is the confidence that I'm talking about.
Hey, thanks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, Miss Sierra Nevada was no doubt a life-changing experience for me.
I can see that.
Yeah, for the first time in my life, I chased what I was afraid of and didn't feel like there was anything I was unqualified. I felt like I was unqualified, but I didn't let that stop me. I just kept going, and there's no opportunity that's too big.
What happens with Miss Sierra Nevada? Like, how does this work now that you've garnered the title? What do you have to do?
I saw it as an avenue to create change and me feeling socially responsible to address mass incarceration in my experience through mass incarceration. Sometimes I would walk into the room and I was the white girl in the crown who was about to talk about mass incarceration. And I would always preface in those avenues and say, like, I'm never going to claim a cultural experience that I don't have. I'm never going to claim an experience that I don't have in general. Thank you for welcoming me into your space. And we do share this experience specifically with mass incarceration. And lend me your ear for 20 minutes and let me share my story and see how much we really do have in common in this experience. There were moments where I felt like I was almost stigmatized for being in a sash and crown in those avenues, and it was cool because I felt like I was able to have this avenue that allowed me to move away that barrier of what mass incarceration looks like.
Right? As I began to do more research and uncover, I saw that so many of us,
looks like everybody,
are impacted from all walks of life.
Yes.
There is no one that has not been impacted at any level.
Yeah.
I applaud you for your courage.
Thank you.
And your confidence
I appreciate
again.
that.
So, when we met, your story resonated with me so much because you were so open and so honest and so happy and so, wanting to have community. You were so happy to be in community.
And what's funny about your session? So when I saw your session, I was like, oh, I'm going to go. And if I had known that it was like anything like a support group, I probably wouldn't have gone.
Oh.
And I got there and I left so inspired and so on fire for making systematic changes and sharing my story. And that, to me, I left that with like, why did I think that? That's what I mean. It's always a journey. I was like, why would I have not gone if it was a support group? What was it about that was like, but then being there and being in it, I was like, wow, thank God I'm here. Like, thank God I came. But it's just, that's what I mean. It's a continual journey. You experience things that you're like, what? Why did I think that? Like, and now I'd be like, yeah, I would totally, like, I love meeting people that have experienced incarceration because I feel like it's like having this connection that a lot
and
of
family. It's like
we're
it
like
really is like family.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right?
I had never been around so many people that had experienced so many things that were like me, and met so many leaders who were like fearfully just chasing systematic change.
Right.
So I'm like itching to go back. It's like my Christmas trip, that and Angola, my Christmas trips, because I get to go back and be surrounded by those people. And I think that, but even what was so funny is like at Miss California, we had a class and I had talked to 3 girls who had had a parent incarcerated.
Wow.
In that niche organization, and I mean, they'd be like, oh yeah, my dad was in jail for a while, or like one girl who was a teen, she like that was her platform as well. But even that, it's like if it's that common.
It
like
is.
if people just talked about it,
Right.
there are people like you that you could walk in life with and learn from and share experiences and grow together, I think, and then using those experiences, those shared experiences in that community to really make that change.
I too did not talk about it for a long time.
Yeah.
And as what propelled me to even start this nonprofit. I have a completely different story, and all our stories. That's another thing. I just started to see that this is not a monolithic issue.
Yeah.
It's not just dads. There are moms that are incarcerated as well. Then there are both parents in some cases that are incarcerated.
Yeah.
Incarceration can look different at the jail, at the local level, at having a parent in state prison.
Oh, yeah.
And then even having a parent in federal prison. And I just felt like, I don't want to leave out any part of this population.
Yeah.
There isn't a light switch that clicks on when you turn 18. I mean, you said it wasn't until that moment in Angola.
Yeah.
You were in your 20s, in your early 20s.
I just was so inspired by you.
Oh.
Like hearing you speak and being in that group and the way that you conducted yourself, I was like, I want to be like that. What you stand for and what you've built is incredibly inspiring. And I think in looking at that allows me to be like, okay, whatever life has for me in the sense of dealing, or I guess being in the work of mass incarceration, like watching you do what you do propels the people underneath you as well.
Nobody's underneath. We're all in this together.
Yes, we're all in this together.
We got
Yes,
us now.
in our yes, it is. We got us now. Not underneath, but I think in following you and watching where you are and seeing where you are and everything that you overcome to get there. It won't be the same path walked, but there's so much potential. And I think that I always said that I am so lucky to speak to people who are going to follow my footsteps, but I was also so incredibly grateful to humbly walk and follow people that were leading. I think there's always a balance. And so, yeah, I was really inspired by you.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Yeah, I was inspired by you too.
I feel responsible in the sense of I have this experience for a reason, and in having that ear to share it and really build off of it, I've never felt so called to something in my life as that.
I've never had the opportunity to go behind the doors to where my dad has been. So to be able to talk to those men and they wanting to receive, like feedback, like how do I stay connected to my child? Like what are some of the things that I can do? I completely understand how, I don't know what maybe fortified you felt. Right? Just and just being able to give something in service of someone else.
People don't see people who are incarcerated that way. And I think at the end of the day, and are so quick to throw around inmate. And so it's like terms like that when you're like, that's my mom that you're talking about. That's my dad that you're talking about. And it's like, those people aren't that different from you. They're just not. And they made a mistake, and they just are going to be known for the mistake that they made for the rest of their lives. You don't want to be known for that. Like, where's the grace and where's the love? And I think those experiences, like, that's what keeps me up at night. Like the fact that people can't remove their privilege to see that there are situations that people are in, not because they chose to be in them, but because that's what life happened to hand them. How can we make those changes, and how can we shift the perspective of people who are, for lack of better words, on the outside, to look at people who are incarcerated and see their mom and see their dad and see their family instead of someone who made a mistake that is going to condemn them for forever.
Yeah, and that's exactly how we have been in the way that we incarcerate in this country.
Oh my gosh.
It's strictly punishment. But I want to say to you, what I am consistently hearing and feeling, I'm just going to be completely honest right now in this moment, is your strong sense of spirituality. Like you're very grounded in that. And it's a beautiful vibration. Yeah, to know that, there is something greater that is propelling you, and you feel really grounded in it, and I respect it and want to honor it today.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And ask you, where does that come from? Because gosh, I know you had your grandparents, but you could have spiraled out and went a completely different route. I
grew up in church and did church. Went to church every Sunday, did the thing, didn't like it, as a lot of kids don't. I was in middle school camp in 8th grade, and I vividly remember the pastor, and I was in Texas, so there was like a big thunderstorm, and I think the power went out. It was something crazy like that, and he specifically called out people who felt abandoned by their dads. Again, 8th grade, so wasn't going around talking about how my dad was addicted to drugs and was in and out of jail. And to me, it was like, I have had this void in my life for as long as I can remember. I've consistently felt unworthy. I've consistently felt unloved. Not that my parents didn't counter that in every way that they could. I think that it just comes with incarceration, and felt like I wasn't good enough, and then I was, they chose something else. And that filled that void in my life. And I mean, I've chased it ever since, and I really feel like God has called me to do this and has given me these experiences for a reason. And I feel responsible to that blessing. And I'm open about my faith in the sense that, it is who I am. I think it's just as much of me as my parents being incarcerated. Honestly, it just is a foundational part of who I am, and it has allowed me to work through some really hard things. And I mean, there's always challenging parts of faith, but like at Angola, I mean, I really felt like, and I didn't really say this earlier, but I felt like God said to me, you don't look at your dad that way. My dad didn't choose his drug addiction. My dad went through a lot of trauma as a kid. His dad murdered his mom, and he was in the house. So what are you going to say to that second grader who just watched his mom get murdered?
Right.
Oh, don't make mistakes when you grow up. Oh, also, you don't have mental health services.
Right.
Also, you don't have someone paying attention to you. Some people can't remove their privilege. And it's people that are addicted to drugs, and I'm sure there are some, because you can never speak to an entirety of a population, but they didn't choose drug addiction because it was something they wanted.
Right.
People don't choose homelessness because it's something they want. People don't choose to be incarcerated. It's something that I think happens from so many other factors that people aren't able to see those other factors in those people. And it's Sure, they made a mistake, but why did they make that mistake? Why doesn't that matter more? Why is it just, oh, this is the mistake they made, and so they need to be put away for the rest of their life?
You spoke to the experience really well, and I pray that it resonates with, people that are able to listen to this and hear from you, to definitely have this perspective, because, most of our stories are, like I said, it's not a monolithic issue, and so we have all different versions of this experience. But to be able to really dig deep, like you've done the work, and you are an example of what this experience looks like in a really strength-focused and healthy way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you really are an example of that. I'm so happy to have had the opportunity to speak to you today. So let me ask you this, and I'm not going to hold you much longer. I just want to ask you this. What was in now this journey that we've discussed, right? You've created relationships, new relationships, and you're still nurturing the relationships with you and your biological parents.
Yes.
You're grateful to your grandparents.
Oh my gosh.
You're honored your step-parent and your sisters. And you honored yourself. I want to know from this now, even in honoring yourself to some of the fullest extent, I believe, and just being really honest, what did you learn from all of this? What have you learned thus far? Because I think we can always continue to learn.
Yeah. Mass incarceration doesn't look one way and affects a lot more people than we think. And everybody deserves their voice, I think, is something I've really walked away from, is that what I have always said in every appearance that I've made is there's no shame in being incarcerated, and there's no shame in loving someone who is incarcerated. And so I really think it comes off of, I've learned that empathy and love, I think, are so important, because you can't see someone for what they've done in the past or what you think that they're going to do or the way that you view them. I try to view people in the way that God sees them. And I think that through that, I've been able to have these experiences that have taught me just to always be open, because every single person has something to teach you.
Thank you for those beautiful parting words, Shalei.
Thank you.
This has been a wonderful experience talking to you.
I know,
I needed this
grateful.
today.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
I needed this today. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want people to know to follow you, or if you want to promote anything, please?
Yeah, I mean, I will not have my Miss Sierra Nevada Instagram for much longer, but my personal Instagram is just my first name, last name, Shalei Heflin. So if you want to follow my journey, and please, feel free also and use that as an avenue to share your story with me. I would love to hear it.
All right. Thank you so much for being a part of this We Got Us Now podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me.
When it launches, I will tell you exactly when. And
thank
you for sharing your story.
Well, thank you.
Mass incarceration in the U.S. is the great tsunami that has ripped apart families and destroyed communities. At the epicenter of this destruction are the children of those incarcerated. My name is Ebony Underwood. I am the founder CEO of We Got Us Now. We Got Us Now is the first of its kind, national, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization built by, led by, and about children and young adults who have been impacted by parental incarceration. These are our stories.
To learn more, to join, to donate, go to WeGotUsNow.org.
Mass incarceration in the U.S. is the great tsunami that has ripped apart families and destroyed communities. At the epicenter of this destruction are the children of those incarcerated. My name is Ebony Underwood. I am the founder CEO of We Got Us Now. We Got Us Now is the first of its kind, national, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization built by, led by, and about children and young adults who have been impacted by parental incarceration. These are our stories. The We Got Us Now podcast, what I'd like to do is always have a word that represents each particular podcast. For this podcast, the word is courage, because I'm so impressed by 11 going on 12, all of you all, 11-year-old beautiful young ladies that want to share their stories. And so I'm going to ask each of you to say your name again, say your age, and tell me your story.
I'm Amira Walker, and I'm 11 years old. My father is incarcerated. He's been incarcerated since I was 11 months, and this year will either make it his 11th or 12th year being incarcerated.
My name is Kamaya Aaliyah Austin Moore. I am 11 years old, and my mom has been in and out of jail since I was born, including when she was pregnant with me.
I'm Kamaya Burns, and my dad was incarcerated when I was around 6, 7. It was sad.
How you feeling now?
I've kind of got over it, but still hits me once in a while.
Me too. I get it. So Kamaya.
Which one?
You.
Okay.
You said that your mom, when she was incarcerated, when she was pregnant with you, yes. Were you born inside? Oh, okay. And Kamaya, your dad is home now. And how's your relationship with your dad?
Not good.
No? And so how does that make you feel, though?
Sad.
Yeah. Do you get to talk to anybody about this?
Talk to my mom.
You do? What about any friends? Or I know Kamaya, too.
It's like close friends. I told my best friend.
You told your best friend?
Yeah.
And what did she say?
She said that if I need anything, if I need to talk to her, then I can come to her.
Well, that's special. That's important. That's good. Like, I didn't have anybody that I could talk to. So for the fact that you can actually talk to somebody is a good deal.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're courageous enough to even share that, you still are experiencing some pain. And I just want you to know that that's normal. Like, that's not unusual at all. It's a very normal thing. I mean, I met a girl today. Her mom was incarcerated, and her mom came home 15 years ago, and she says she still feels, pain about it. So for the fact that you're here and you wanted to speak up about it, I think it's a big deal. So now you got to tell me, how are you coping?
Each day I think of it as like the more time goes by, the less time he has to serve. And I ask all the time how much time he has to do, but my mom just gives me that face like she doesn't want to tell me because she thinks that if she tells me it's going to hurt me. And she also makes that face like he's not coming out no time soon.
Do you know how much time he has?
No, but I plan on having a conversation with him about how much time he has to serve.
And what about visits? Do you all ever get? Do you get to visit your dad?
Yeah, it's like every 2 months.
Is he in state prison?
No,
he's in federal prison.
Yeah, he's 7 hours away. He's in Big Sandy.
Oh, where's that?
It's in Kentucky.
Oh my gosh, really? Oh wow. And Kamaya, would you say you barely get to see your mom?
I get to see her maybe twice a year.
Wow. It's expensive. Yeah. Is she in federal prison too?
Yes.
Yeah, see?
But it's in West Virginia.
Visiting is a big deal, especially when you have a parent. Let's say you're from D.C.
Yes.
You all are from D.C.?
Yeah.
So when people are incarcerated in D.C., that means that they can be anywhere in the country. Like, I know that here is not a state, it's a district. And so because it's a district of Columbia, that means that when they're incarcerated, they could be all across the country, which is devastating. And most people don't understand how devastating it is for us to experience. I just want to talk about like some of the difficulties. Like you said, you get to see her twice a year. Can you explain like why it is that you get to see her only twice a year?
So I take a bus there. They set up trips there, and it's only like twice a year.
When during the year?
Like last year, it was in like December, October, something like that. And then it was earlier that year too.
But so it's never like the holidays or even like Mother's Day? No. This is so horrible. Like, gosh. So for We Got Us Now, we like to celebrate during Mother's Day and Father's Day to honor us because of our experience, but also to honor our parents because at the end of the day, we love them regardless of where they are. And then also the holidays. Like for me, the holidays are always really hard because my father was arrested during the holidays in December. So like Thanksgiving into Christmas is often difficult for me. I want to talk to you about visiting. You said you get to see him twice a month. Say your name again.
Amira Walker.
So when you get to see him once every 2 months, how do you get there?
We have to drive.
Oh my gosh. So you drive 7 hours?
Yeah, my grandparents drive.
Your grandparents take you? Wow. But at least you get to go twice every 2 months.
Once every 2 months.
Oh, once every 2 months. Let's talk about this. What do y'all think needs to be happening around this?
I feel like that they should take some time off their sentence. Also, I think that they need to treat them like humans.
So you feel like they're not treated like humans? Why?
Because my father tells me stories all the time about what's going on in there, and it seems like they're treating them like they're wild animals. And to me, it's racist because when I go to the visiting hall, I see a bunch of black people. I don't see no white people. And it's like, the way I think of it is like, you guys see our color, so you trap us up in a cage.
Well, it's like at our school, we go to like a all-white school or
Bethesda.
So it's like I feel like I get treated differently every day because of my color for no reason. So I just try to kill them with kindness because like I've did nothing to them. I've listened all the time. I've did nothing to them. And it's just like, what if I would to ask them, is it because I'm black? I would probably get in trouble.
It's really sad. Unfortunately, the society that we live in, it's just, it is racist. It's always been racist. And so because that is the society we live in, at the end of the day, we've learned to survive. And I think that, at 11 years old, you've had to learn how to survive. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous because people that don't look like us and people that are not our skin color don't even have to think about it.
Most people who aren't our skin tone are taken care of by their parents. They don't know what the real world is.
Spoiled.
Yes. And so they don't know what it is to have to fight for your rights.
Also, I feel like that they have like no type of freedom in that prison. It's because every time I go visit my father, it's like I can bring up something that's going on now outside of prison and around here, and I can bring up something like that. He'll be like, "What is that?" They isolate them.
When I go down to visit, I get so excited when we get there. But that's the thing. As soon as we walk in there, they say they're in the middle of count. We have to come back 2 hours later.
In federal prison, if you don't get to the facility at a certain time, and they're in the midst of counting, and the count means that they're counting all the prisoners to make sure that everybody's there, right? So if we don't get there in time, so visits start at 8:30, 8:15, 8, right?
Yeah.
8:15, 8:30. If you don't get there by that time, then their count begins, I believe, at 9.
You're stuck there for hours.
Then you're stuck.
You can't do nothing.
Right? You're stuck in the visiting room?
Yep.
No, we're stuck in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Cause there's like, they have to process us, so they take us. You take us through these metal detectors, and the only thing we could wear is like our clothes, no shoes, no nothing. They process us, put on our stuff, and they make sure we have everything on, and then after that, they drug test us.
What?
They drug test us.
How?
They take this wand and they put a cloth in the inside, and they wipe you down, and
Like with that white substance.
it's horrible. It's so horrible because I was looking at them like they were crazy, because I will never forget the day they wiped down my 4-month-old cousin.
Oh no.
My 4-month-old cousin does not have drugs on him.
Ridiculous.
They go too far. It's like they think we're gonna do something wrong just because our parents are incarcerated or because of our skin color.
My sister, she had to wear some kind white man's clothes because it showed her shoulders. And they said you're not allowed to go in the facility because your shoulders are out. This kind young white man let her wear his shirt just to go see my father. And it was like, what's the problem with wearing a shirt? It's like a short sleeve shirt. You have to wear a long sleeve. I don't understand.
Open-toed shoes you can't wear?
You can't wear nothing. You have to wear 10 shoes.
Like,
You
once
can't wear
I
these.
wore open-toed shoes and I was about to not be able to see my mom. Thank God there was a store there. There was a store nearby.
Also, in the visiting hall, they don't let adults wear their jacket, and then they want to turn the air on negative 20 degrees, and it's not fair because
It's true.
it's very messed up, because I have an aunt where basically she doesn't like cold air, and she just can't with cold air.
Right.
So that's stopping her from going to see her brother,
Wow.
because they won't let her walk in there. Just because she's an adult, they won't let her walk in there with the coat, and she got a condition where she can't handle cold air.
These aspects of this story of the visit is so important, because people just think, oh, you're going to visit, this is great. And another thing that's happening is that they're trying to eliminate in-person visits. I don't know if you guys heard of this, but they are working to eliminate, like there's communications companies that are out there that what they're doing is saying and making deals with some of these state jails and prisons and saying, you know what? Hey, everybody uses cell phones and iPads nowadays. You don't have to have in-person visits anymore. You can just use your phone and have people visit through the phone. And so the reason why what you all are saying today is so important is because they need to know that there is nothing that can replace a hug, a kiss, the love of your parent.
Oh, and about hugging and kissing and touching, you have to go in the red box to do that.
Right. They tape the ground, and the
you have
inmate has to stand inside of the box, and that's where you hug and kiss. Then you go sit down, and you can't touch them anymore.
And you have to stay about like 2 feet away from them, from the chairs. And like last time, my grandma scooted her chair up and they said something to her.
Wait, y'all have to explain this. I've never even heard this red box thing.
It's new.
So you walk in, your parent comes out, and then you want to give them a hug, but you can't immediately give them a hug?
You have to
even
be in
touch
that
them.
red box.
Can't hold their hand.
I couldn't touch my father.
What? What is this red box?
Also, I remember mentioning when I was on the radio that I got to sit on my father's lap and like hug him and kiss him and stuff like that, and that I was able to do that for the visit. They ruined that last visit. I think it was like last month that I went to go visit him. I was hugging him and kissing him, and then all of a sudden they call him in the back, and he comes out and says, "You can't hug me and kiss me no more during the visit, only before and after." And I tried so hard not to cry in front of my father, because that's the only time I get to hug and kiss you, and you ruin that. It's heartless that they can take that away from a child.
They took the tables away. We had nothing. We had to put our food on the floor. The prisoners, they were not allowed to touch any wrappers or anything. They had to put everything inside this tray.
Like if they wouldn't like if their parents were in jail or incarcerated.
We did to them.
and we did that to them, they would be mad. They would feel the same pain that we feel right now.
They would probably start violence, but they don't see us doing it.
Just because we're black doesn't mean we cause problems. Like, there's certain people that do that. Not all black people can harm other people.
And just because we're black does not mean they have a right to treat us like
Treat
this.
us differently.
So We Got Us Now is all about keeping families connected. And thank you so much for sharing the aspect of the visit, because people really don't know. People have no idea about this red box that you speak of. And these are in different facilities. You all are not visiting at the same facility, right? That is crazy. A red box just in order to hug your parent, and then you have to wait online in order to do this? You have to wait online to hug your parent? This is like slavery.
Yeah.
It's like literally slavery.
And that's what people don't notice.
You can barely talk to your parents. They're always going on lockdown.
Do you teachers know any of this? Do you all talk to your teachers about any
I
of
don't
this?
trust
I
my
don't.
teachers.
Right. I don't share this with my teachers.
The only trust 2 teachers, but I don't. I'm in a minorities club. I think that's what it's called, for black girls that want to speak up at our school, and my teacher's risking her job to help black girls and black children in general at our school to help with the racism that's going on in our school.
So you guys are debunking, and when I say debunk, I mean like literally like the narrative about children of incarcerated parents are that we're dumb, you know, we're not intelligent.
They judge us based off if our parents went to jail or not.
Yeah,
Like,
so they judge us off of the mistake that our parent made, right? And you know, people are individuals.
that's why
People do make mistakes.
I cannot wait till I'm older to show the person who judged me all the achievements I made in my life.
Right. I agree with Kamaya, because I really hope I make something out of this, because I had a bunch of people that doubted me and tried to put me down, but yet I'm still at the top succeeding.
In your class?
Huh?
In your class?
No, in my school.
In your school? Oh, yeah, that's right.
I had somebody tell me today on my way to class, because I was going around telling my friends, oh yeah, I'm going to get interviewed today.
Yeah,
guys, I'm gonna send you a video.
Yeah.
And they were happy for me. And I had someone saying, oh, you're not going on TV,
That's
and you're
so
not
true.
going to go viral, and you're not getting famous.
like,
I'm just
you're not
looking at
going- It's like, what do you
them.
know what we're gonna do? What do you know we're gonna succeed?
You're
what do you
sitting
know is
in your-
happening in your life?
And I'm just looking at them like, I can't wait till I accomplish all my goals, and I'm just gonna look you dead in your face like, you're the one that doubted me.
That's right.
So what you gotta say now?
First off, they're in their chair. They're at home doing nothing.
Playing Fortnite.
Right. Doing nothing
their
with their
phone.
life. And we're out here helping the community,
Trying to make a difference.
fighting for our rights. And they have the nerve to doubt us.
Trying to help our parents live a life.
Right.
You all are the voices for your parents. Those voices that they can't share, you all are really the living, breathing example of what their parenting and the support systems that you have are. So you guys are completely eliminating what it means to be a child of an incarcerated according to to these myths that these people have put out about us. You
It's
are
like-
completely eliminating what that means. Every single one of you. Just sharing in the way that you're sharing is really eliminating that. And I'm so proud to like even be sitting here. I feel honored to be sitting here because I've been screaming at the top of my lungs that we are not those stories. We do not represent this myth about, oh, you're 5 times more likely to end up incarcerated.
They don't know what
'Cause
we are.
Yeah, they don't
They judge
know.
us based off of our lifestyle, how we look.
And I'm
Or where your parent is.
Yes.
Because your parent made a mistake and it's in a place because of that mistake, that you're supposed to be like that too. And that you're going to make a mistake like that too. And that's not true. And so that's why it's so important for you all to speak and share. But also, speak and share. Like I said, everybody does not deserve your story. everybody does not deserve your story. But you all seem very confident, super courageous. Like, bravo to y'all. Like, super courageous to be even talking in the way that you're talking. I mean, I've talked to some adults. You all surpass some of them. Just in the way that you've had the courage to share.
We have that courage because we got used to the fact that our parents are in jail. We can't just sit there and do nothing.
We got
about
sick of
just
it.
Moping.
And I'm going to continue to be the voice of my father. You can try to bring me down all you want. I'm going to be the voice of my father until the day I die.
No one's going to stop us.
And when I'm not going to stop. Even if gray hair starts growing on my head, I'm not going to stop until my father got what he deserved.
And I bet one of the most smartest people, the most obedient people is in prison too, because they made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. We're human.
The thing I don't understand is, you make one mistake, you get 50 years in jail. One mistake.
And one of my friends, her name is Tori, her mom is in jail for about 30 more years because she got framed.
Yeah, that happens all the time. That happens all the time. You all talk about, the injustice just with racism, but that's part of it too. Like you said, it's no longer the way that it was, but now there's creative ways that they found to incarcerate our families and separate our families. It's not as evident as it was during slavery time, but now, they found these creative ways to separate our families and try to break our spirits. But your spirit is so strong. Your spirits are so strong. So I want to talk to you all. Okay, so we talked about visiting. We talked about communications, right? So how do y'all communicate with your parents?
Text.
Oh, text? You get to text him?
Mm-hmm.
I
But
can
that costs
email.
money.
I don't know if it costs money. They provide them with computers, and he texts me,
So
but
that's-
it takes like an hour and 25 minutes just for the text to deliver.
Yeah. So that's cost. That costs. So whoever's taking care of you probably is helping to support your dad, and however he's able to text you or call you, it costs money to do that. And so that is another way that they capitalize off of our pain, or what I like to say, profit off of our pain.
That's another thing I want to change, is that you're basically stealing our money, because they want all this money from us to make a call, to make a text, which is pointless, because why are we paying you for him to type letters and send it to his child? And then also, we're paying you and then you're treating him like nothing. We're giving you money for you to treat him like trash. Then you're throwing him in this cell, or you're throwing him in this isolating place, and we're giving you money like we're handing out free cookies.
I want to make an awareness about this because this is not right. And the fact that you have to sit in a box, that's like literally going to make it worse. At least give them room.
You're talking about
to move
solitary.
around.
Yeah, a lot of people experience solitary confinement, unfortunately. But you all, I'm just going to I hear what you all are saying, and there's a lot of people that are working on abolishing the prison system because they feel like people should not live in cages. But people make mistakes, and we live in a society where, in this society, there's a justice system. And part of that justice system, if you disobey the law, they will punish you. And so a lot of times they harshly punish us so that they can put fear in us so that we won't come back, so that people won't come back. And so that's part of what it is.
Another thing I always wanted to advocate for was people that were on death penalty, because I don't understand how the government could take someone's life for a mistake that they're already paying for. And if I ever had to think or know that my father was going to be killed by the government, my heart would stop beating and drop to the ground. So I can't imagine how it is for other people. And also, it doesn't make sense to me because let's say they put you on death row because you murdered someone. But aren't you murdering that person?
I say the same thing, right? I completely agree with you.
If you're
two wrongs make a right.
Right. If you're taking someone's life, that's murder right there. That's murder.
Yeah, I completely agree.
If I had a soul, and if I could talk to the government, all my anger would Rush out.
That's
I would literally turn purple.
that's
So tell me what you would say, because honestly, that's something that I want to talk to you all about. Like,
I would
what are some? Let's go one by a time, and you say your name before you speak. So I want to hear your solutions. Like, you all explained what the experience is, right? Having to visit, the struggles with having to visit, the struggles with having to communicate, the distance that it takes to communicate with your family member. What are the people want to know? Well, like, when people hear me, they're like, well, Ebony, what can we do? There's some people, white and black and all different colors and all different nationalities, that want to support us, but they are like, how do they support us? So Kamaya, you start. You tell me what you think.
Okay, I'm Kamaya Austin-Moore, and what I would do if I got a chance to talk to the government, I would get in their face and ask why. Why do you have to treat them like animals? You're treating them like slaves. Like, my mom once told me a story of how she asked for a piece of bread and she went to the chute. There's something called the chute. It's this dark room, no lights.
Solitary.
that's the hole for my father.
Same. Solitary.
Yes, and I would ask them, would you like it if I treated you like this? Would you like it if you asked for something, I would put you in a place you wouldn't want to be? And I would also ask them, just like, if I put their parents in a place like that, how would they feel? Mm-hmm. How would they feel if no one cared that you were taken away from your parents for a long time for a mistake?
And I think that by asking them that question, it would make them think. Kamaya?
My name is Kamaya Burns, and I would say, if you were to be in our situation, what would you do? And why would you put our parents in jail knowing that they have children that want to see them every day, that want to help them with certain things? Like, let's say, for instance, if your mother's in jail, you won't have a mother figure. You won't know how it feels to have a mother. Like, you're going through things and you don't even have to talk. You have to talk to your dad or grandmother or grandfather about situations that you should be talking to your mom about. I don't understand why they would put people that make mistakes, they over-sentence people.
Right. So what are the solutions? What do you think is a solution, Kamaya?
A solution is, at least if you have like children, if you don't have a father or mother, you would probably go into a foster care somewhere.
That's true.
And like, foster care doesn't get really, my friend just got out of foster care. She was beat, she was abused, she was starved, she didn't have everything that she needed. She's allergic to like everything.
They have to fight for their food.
They don't understand what they're taking away from kids. You're stealing. It's like stealing candy out of a baby's mouth. I'm Amira, and my solutions, and also what I would say to the government is, I would look them dead in their eye, and I would say that, what if us black people threw you up in a room, a tiny room, made you sleep on these tiny plastic beds with rats running through the cell and cockroaches, with a stinky toilet on the corner, and you have to hang up your family, pictures of your family that's black and white on the wall just to feel like you're close with them? What if I threw you in a room like that for the rest of your life? What if I did that to you?
You wouldn't survive.
And what if you felt like you had nothing? And what if you had those days where you felt like you were nothing? And what if you felt like you did this to yourself? Well, that's what they're going through in there. And y'all don't understand that you're harming people mentally, emotionally, physically. Who knows what they're doing to my father in there?
What about you? How is it affecting you?
Growing up, that was the hardest thing for me, to not have my father by my side, because I had to learn how to toughen up on my own, because a father's supposed to build, like, I don't know, they're supposed to make their child tough, you know, build a tough cookie, okay? I had to learn how to do that on my own, because I had to learn that I was going to go through rough times. And I would look at pictures of me and my father of when I was a baby, and I'd just be like, that could be me right now. Why is this happening to me? And then I think about, why can't I be like my other friends? Their parents are home and they're living their best life. And I remember it was 3 in the morning. I could not stop crying. And that was not too long ago. That was like a month ago. I could not stop crying. And it was so bad. I didn't want to wake my mom up. It was so bad that I had to call my best friend, and she had to get me under control.
Why? Did you just come from visiting him?
Yeah. And it was just like, I want to be there again. And I want my father to hold me again. But I can't get that. And it's like, sometimes it's just hard to deal with. And they don't understand that. Like, I also had a solution. I was thinking about this, like, what if they had something that they could be released for like a weekend, but they would have to give the people a good reason why. And they could have rules like they had to know where they were staying, and no alcohol, no drugs, of course. But they were free to do whatever they want for a whole 48 hours. That's one thing I had came up with in my head. And I hope that could become something, because I would really like to spend 48 hours alone with my father.
Can I tell you something? In Europe, they actually do that. Your solution is something that actually happens. And they are baffled by the way that we incarcerate. The maximum amount of time that they give to anyone, no matter if you're a serial killer, is 20 years. That's the maximum. There's a book called The Meaning of Life that talks about why we incarcerate so harshly and why we need to stop incarcerating people at the rate that we're doing. Europe understands that being away from your family is enough, and that being inside a jail is enough. So on the weekends, they let them out.
I think that's something that they need to bring to the U.S. because I don't want my cousin growing up with this pain. I don't want my cousin to grow up with this pain because it's gotten so bad to the point where they had my uncle in prison and they had my father in prison, and I had a really tight bond with my uncle because I needed a male in my life to basically, I needed someone to be like a father to raise me how I am now. And they put him in there for a year, and it was a really tough time because I know my uncle did not murder nobody. They didn't find no evidence on my uncle. There's even a video of me breaking down when he came home because that was the best day of my life. I was so happy when they went to court and they proved it wrong because you had no evidence on my uncle.
So you have to go through this twice?
From time to time, you'll have breakdowns.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So what do y'all want to say to other kids that are going through this?
Don't handle this alone. Do not handle this alone because that would just put you in a dark place that you don't want to be. And I learned that for a long time. My mom was telling me not to tell people, but that was just like me holding in my feelings, and I couldn't do that. So as I started being more open with my close friends, they helped me pass this, and they helped put a smile on my face every day, and they're the reason why I'm smiling to this day. So do not go through this alone. And to all those kids out there, you have a voice too. It's not just us three or the other kids that are in her program. You have a voice too, and what you need to do is you need to speak up, and you need to speak up for what's right, because even if we could and we did have that power, just the three of us, to change things here, we need your help too. We need you, because the three of us, we can't do it alone.
don't handle it alone. Or you just be in a dark place, you'll be depressed somewhere. I don't really like being open to people. Like, I'm used to keeping things to myself. Only because, like, I feel like they won't understand, or I'll, like, get in trouble for saying what I have to say and doing what I have to do. So that kind of holds me back. That was the past. I'm pushing myself to do what I have to do. And it's just like, if I were to have my father with me, I feel like it would change my life. My grades would be better. I would be where I needed to be. In my past, it's just like, what in the world was he, like, I know that mistakes happen and stuff, but the trauma that he put me through, to all those other kids that are having problems with their father, their mother, uncle, don't handle it alone. Just talk to somebody that you trust, close friend, teacher, someone that you that will know that will understand you. Talk to them and express your feelings.
I'm Kamaya. The people who are trying, even if you're not, you need to try. Have a say. You need to do what you can to gain your rights. Do not stop just because there's something in your way. There are going to be a lot of obstacles in life. Keep pushing through them. Do not stop. You need to keep going until you get what you think is right. And do not bottle up your feelings, because if you do, you have a chance of becoming depressed. You could feel suicidal, anything. And you do not want to feel that way.
Also, don't let nobody knock you off your feet. Don't let nobody knock you off your feet, because you have to stand proud, and you have to be your father's or your mother's or whoever is incarcerated right now. You have to be their next generation. You have to be their legacy. So do not let nobody put you down before who you are and which mistakes your parents made. Do not let nobody tell you you're going to probably end up just like your parents in jail. You're probably just going to be another person on the street. No, don't let nobody do that to you. You stand proud and be who you are.
Like the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't hurt. Yeah, people might physically do stuff to you. That's when you have to do something, but do not put all your focus into that. And if someone says something to you, don't pay attention to it. If someone says something to me, it will make me want to achieve something to prove them wrong.
That's right.
My teacher actually told me that if you stop to throw rocks at everybody that says something bad about you or put you down, you'll never make it anywhere. So people that put you down, they're probably going through something too. So you don't want to like put them down or anything, but that's not right for somebody to treat you that way, because I'm sure they wouldn't like you to treat them that way. So if someone's being mean to you or bullying you, they're most likely going through something themselves. So I would advise you just to say or check up on them every day. Just ask them, are you okay, once in a while.
Comfort them.
Yeah. Just because they might not do it to you, that doesn't mean you have to treat them the same way.
So for me, I used to like to write. I wasn't a big talker. When I was younger, I didn't talk, but I definitely journaled. Like, again, like I said, I would. You guys are like surpass me, but I would be very encouraged to hear from you all. To hear your stories would be so encouraging for me. Like sometimes writing, art, music for me was the thing that completely healed me. I love music.
I cannot live without music.
Right? You can't live without music, right? I love music.
Writing was also a strategy for me in 5th grade, because that was a time where a lot of us went through changes in 5th grade, and we're starting to become like young ladies. So I had this teacher. She was really close with me, and Miss Liz, if you're watching this, shout out to you. But I used to be really close with her, and she bought me a journal, because one day I just got so mad that I had to that I just broke down, and I shared everything I was going through with her. And it was like she was so close, and it was the only teacher that I had connected with like that, because she felt my pain, that she felt it so much and felt what I was going through, that she even cried herself. So she would buy me journals, buy me snacks here and there. And it's like, okay, well, you write your feelings inside that journal, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to give you feedback on how you can improve on this. So she was very helpful, because I know that I wouldn't have self-control like how I didn't in elementary school. I know I wouldn't never had self-control like how I have now without her.
A lot of us just don't think that people care, so we don't share and we kind of act out.
Yeah.
But we do, even in our acting out, we don't take it to the next level. Like that narrative about, oh yeah, we're going to be in all kind of like trouble. No, we try to excel or trying to find ways to cope. Like you in that situation, you broke down and you actually shared. You knew, and you did the right thing, and you found your support system. And that's so important. That's so important. You have to know that you are incredible. You're an incredible young woman.
Thank you.
All three of you all are incredible young women.
Thank you.
And are a shining example of what We Got Us Now is working to do across this nation and show to the rest of the world. And look at us having an intellectual conversation about truth and injustice that happen in our country. And I just want to say I'm just so honored again to be sitting here with you all. For you all, you know, I know it's a school night, for you all to come here on a school night and want to share. You are not alone. And just know now that you're part of We Got Us Now. And there is a national community, and we're going to build it up. And we're going to build it up. All right? Come on. We're going to do this. Yay. We got us now. Let's say it. 1, 2, 3.
We got us now.
Nice to know we're not alone.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thank y'all. Mass incarceration in the U.S. is the great tsunami that has ripped apart families and destroyed communities. At the epicenter of this destruction are the children of those incarcerated. My name is Ebony Underwood. I am the founder CEO of We Got Us Now. We Got Us Now is the first of its kind, national, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization built by, led by, and about children and young adults who have been impacted by parental incarceration.
To learn more, to join, to donate, go to wegotusnow.org.